Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is some news that I saw on Instagram a couple weeks ago. I didn't report on it or make a video about it because I just haven't had the time, and it slipped my mind a couple of times. So I'm getting to it now, and not a whole lot of people have mentioned this, but I think this is something worth talking about when we talk about the welterweight division. Now, for anybody that's really watched this channel over the years, you guys know that I support my South Florida fighters. I love South Florida, and I want to see, if you're a fighter from the South Florida area, if you're a fighter from Miami or the Broward County area or West Palm Beach, the same places that I grew up, I want to see you do well because, I look at them kind of like myself, from the same area. So I want to see South Florida win whenever it comes to boxing. But, one of South Florida's very own, one of the big names locally, maybe not nationally as far as outside of Florida, but locally, one of the big names is Harold Calderon. And he has some big news because it was announced on Instagram via his gym's Instagram account, KO Fitness. Shout out to the fine folks, KO Fitness, Coach Robles, and all the people over there. The KO Fitness announced recently that Harold Calderon has signed a management deal with one Peter Kahn. Now, Peter Kahn, he's a friend of the program. He's a friend of the channel. Peter Kahn is one of the best managers in boxing. We know Peter Kahn has done a great job guiding the career of guys like George Kambosos, Xander Zayas, now Emmanuel Tego. And, there's no doubt in my mind that this is a great move for Harold because, I got to be real, and I told Harold this myself in person to his face. I've grown frustrated with his career because, he's been fighting on these local shows at the Doubletree Hilton by the airport. He hasn't really been fighting in significant fights. Yes, he's selling tickets. Yes, he's a little local celebrity or local star. He's got star power locally, but I've been frustrated because he's just been fighting these Argentinians. And, I told him that, and he said, well, I don't just fight Argentinians the last time I interviewed him. But this is great news because I feel like now, finally in his career, he's got a really, really good person in his corner as far as, management goes. Because, earlier, he did have a deal with Gary Lewis, but I think that failed because Gary Lewis is, not to talk down on Gary, but Gary had a new thing starting up with Signature Punch Promotions, and sometimes it's just hard to get things off the ground when you're starting a new promotional company. So, it didn't work out. But Peter Kahn's established. Peter Kahn has connections to everybody in boxing. I mean, Peter Kahn has connections to PBC, DAZN, Golden Boy. Peter Kahn will be able to get Harold fights on any network. I think it's just so long as Harold doesn't sign any promotional deal with anybody. Harold Calderon can now get the fights that are going to take him to that next level because, he's a good fighter, good boxer, has a good understanding of distance, is heavy-handed, body puncher at times. He's very adaptable fighter, very smart fighter, very clever fighter. Someone once told me about Harold. He takes what the defense gives him. He's kind of like a quarterback. He takes what the defense gives him, and he's somebody that I really think that boxing needs to have more of on the TV screens. And I'm happy that this news really for me as someone who's covered Harold Calderon's career on local shows, fighting in against no-name opponents, fighting against fighters that really aren't doing anything for his career. It's been a long journey, and it really warms my heart to see him with somebody who I know, just so long as Peter Kahn puts his best foot forward, is going to get him to where he needs to be in boxing. Harold Calderon has gone through a lot in his boxing career. From, I know we talked one time a couple years ago, and he told me that like his first 10 fights, first 15 fights in the pros or something like that, he didn't even get paid. He had his pro debut under a tree, a literal tree. The ring was under a tree outside. I think it was in the Dominican Republic. Then he went from that to fighting on these local shows in Miami that very little people knew about. Since then, he's been able to build a great buzz in Miami, selling tickets. And if anybody who's watching this video, if you've been to a Harold Calderon fight, he brings a great crowd with him. He even brings out celebrities like Rick Ross came to his fight. Members of the Dolphins and the Heat come to his fights. He has garnered a lot of interest in South Florida. and I think he has star quality as far as his personality. He's a little older. He's like 33, so he needs to move on with his career. I feel like, you know, now with Peter Kahn, they got to go for the gusto, and they got to do something big right away. You know, I did want to see Harold fight Pete Dobson. They may have bigger plans in mind as far as money and bigger fights. So look, I'm all for it. I'm gonna be here for the Harold Calderon rise to prominence in boxing, because this is a guy that I've covered a lot. I've covered extensively, and I'll continue to cover extensively just so long as he's boxing and he's active. But great news, Harold Calderon signs with Peter Kahn. You know, Miami's very own, South Florida's very own, one of the cash cows of South Florida boxing, finally has a proper backing behind him, and I'm looking for a big, massive 2022 ahead of him. So yeah, that's the news. Harold Calderon getting things right with his career, getting things right with his journey in the sport. So you love to see it, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I'm looking forward to hearing some fight news coming soon to see who he fights next and how Peter Kahn guides him. So you guys, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. You know, True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, you know, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God.